Hi, my name is James O'Halloran, and I provide coaching services in Bristol and online. I mainly work with founders, entrepreneurs, people changing career, and neurodivergent people who are focusing on being more efficient in their lives and in their work. And I just want to speak a little bit about. By the way, welcome to my newsletter or to my website or wherever you're finding me. And yeah, I just want to speak a little bit about men's work. And in particular, I'll speak a bit about Mankind Project, or MKP. Up until probably only a couple of years ago, I had no interest in doing men's work. I actually just couldn't really understand the concept of just spending time with men. I've grown up with three older sisters. I'm very used to female energy, and I couldn't see why taking that away would be of benefit. And and then I read a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, which was recommended to me by by a few people. And it was only when I read that book that I began to understand where actually I might be getting a lot of validation and um, not really processing things that were in my system by just spending time in spaces that were mixed. So I started to dip my toe in and attend some men's circles, and yeah, I could certainly see how it was different. It just felt different in my system. It felt quite kind of cooling or some way calming, and that I didn't have to put in as much effort for showing up, or it changed things in terms of how I was showing up. And after kind of investing myself in some retreats and doing various different circles and workshops and yeah, retreats, I now wholeheartedly recommend men's work, and in particular Mankind Project, or MKP. So yeah, I'm just going to speak a little bit about the benefits of that and how you can explore that. Although I'm involved, there's no benefit to me in recommending this to you, only for the fact that, if you're a man or if you know a man that might benefit from this, it's just been a huge benefit to me and a lot of people I now know and I have a community with who have gone through and done this work. So it's purely for the benefit of the people that will turn up to it that I'm making this video. So first of all, there's different ways of accessing MKP. They do something called connection groups, which is the way I first encountered them, which you can find on their website, mankindproject.org, I think it is, called connection groups, and they run them usually 4 times a week. And they're 90 minutes on Zoom. You just register in advance, it's free, and then you turn up and just relax into it, and they'll guide you through, and it's extremely well held. Certainly everyone I've been to was excellently held, and it's an opportunity to empty out, and check in with yourself, with the group, meet some new people on Zoom, and really, begin to kind of process and empty out what might be sitting with you in that moment. And people share so vulnerably that it's, it kind of really invites us to do the same, and that in itself is very healing. So connection groups, you can find it through their website and book on, as I said. But really their kind of flagship training, I guess, is called the NWTA, or New Warrior Training Adventure, which I don't know if I really like the title, but that's what they've called it. And that is an incredible piece of work which they've been running. It started 40 years ago in the States, and they've been running it as a charity ever since. It came to the UK 30 years ago, I believe, and now 70,000 men worldwide have completed the NWTA training, which basically starts on a Friday early evening, and then runs until Sunday. And there's several of them across the UK throughout the year. There's some in Ireland, there's some in Spain, there's some, they're all around the world. And they recommend that you don't really describe too much about what goes on those weekends, because it's like, if I was recommending a film to you that's in the cinema, if I told you all about all the different aspects of it, it wouldn't really be the same experience. And I really agree with that, because there's aspects of that weekend where you will get challenged and tested, most likely. And it's just something about trusting the process, which is quite cliched and not a great phrase, but it is true. Yeah, so during that weekend, it's just an absolutely incredible piece of design from start to finish when you arrive. Most of MKP's work is shadow work, so the work of Carl Jung, and really kind of bringing you in touch with your shadow, which is the aspect of yourself that you hide, repress, or deny. So this is the part of yourself that kind of gets in your own way and blocks you from making the progress that you might want. It can be shadowy, it kind of lurks in the shadows. So, you know, if you end up getting really angry, or if things trigger you, or you find yourself just being quite depressed or sad, or, you know, just the events of life are kind of getting you back, often there's some shadow at play there that you might not be conscious of, but it might be like the event that's triggered you might be reminiscent of something that happened to you as a child. So you might be reliving that in, you know, what's called an emotional flashback or something like this. So, but yeah, so MKP deal with shadow work. You'll most likely look at the, you know, any wounding you have around your father or any wounding you have around your mother, which, you know, I think unless you had a perfect childhood, there's most likely some impact that, you know, negative impact that's been left there. You know, whether you were crying and didn't get picked up immediately, like all these things leave small injuries, and you know, for some people there's much bigger injuries and traumas to deal with as well. Um, so yeah, I just wholeheartedly and highly recommend Mankind Project, and stepping into the circle, and eventually attending a new warrior training adventure when you can. They also offer them for black and brown men, and they offer them for gay, bisexual, trans, queer, and plus men identifying that way. And as I said, it's available all over the world. And yeah, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm involved, and I obviously highly recommend it. So I'll be really welcome a conversation. So feel free to message me about it. And of course, if you've listened to this all the way through to the end, and you're a woman, there might be men, a brother, a partner, you know, a friend who would really benefit from this, and I encourage you to, you know, recommend it to them and maybe pass on this video. And that's it for now. See you soon.